The local foundation is on a mission to change veterans' lives for the better.
KTLA's Casey Montoya has the story as we continue saluting our veterans.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, Howie picked me. So our bond was just instant.
37-year-old Gunnery Sergeant James Harden is an active duty Marine stationed at Camp Pendleton.
Around this time last year, I guess you could kind of say I kind of hit a point and completely just imploded. For myself, at that point, I was pretty numb to the world.
Harden says he wasn't leaving his house and had pushed everyone in his life away. After 15 years of denial, he knew he needed help. During his therapy, he was introduced to the Patriotic Service Dog Foundation, where he met Howie.
At that moment, I was completely calm for the first time in years.
It's estimated that 460,000 veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars alone are struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury, conditions that can lead to depression, isolation, and even suicide. Many suffer in silence, and sadly, each day, 22 veterans take their own lives. The Patriotic Service Dog Foundation's goal is to reduce that statistic from 22 to 0.
It's survivor's guilt. I've lost several friends. I've lost one of my Marines. Now that I got Howie, as I'm thrashing in bed or having a nightmare about something, he will actually jump up into bed and interrupt and wake me up.
Guess for you. Sit. Good boy.
Vietnam veteran Thomas Vaughn was introduced to his service dog, Casper, earlier this year. He was recently diagnosed with PTSD after decades of going untreated.
Denial. Many years of denial. It finally caught up to me.
But now he says life is different.
I laugh more with him than I have in years.
Retired Army Sergeant Isaac Brand served for 10 years. He admits he tried to take his own life when he got out.
I wasn't so much in denial. I knew there was something wrong with me, but I was full force, just destruction.
Now the 32-year-old has Bear, a service dog still in training.
Gets me out of the house. I have to be engaged with him, so he needs me just as much as I need him.
Tom Tackett, also a Vietnam vet, started the Patriotic Service Dog Foundation 4 years ago, now based on
It is time for Talk to Us.
This morning, we're helping you salute the veterans in your family. I want to start with one close to our KTLA 5 family. News writer Marie's granddad, Lieutenant Colonel Donald Moffat Carhart, actively served in the United States Marine Corps for nearly 24 years.
Wow.
As a fighter
A
pilot.
fighter. Look at that.
That's a history of service in that family.
Aww.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing, Marie. From Jennifer Winhart, my grandfather, Robert Collins, World War II. Shortly after this picture was taken, he went off to participate in the Normandy invasion, then fought in the Battle of the Bulge, came back with 3 Purple Hearts, but he came back.
Great history. From Lori Madsen, my dad, my hero, Eugene Schroeder, drafted for the Korean War. He drove an army tank.
Charlie Williams, I enlisted in the Army in 1970, served in Vietnam, boots on the ground, earned the Vietnam Service Medal and the Good Conduct Medal.
From Dan DeVergis, this is my mom, who was a captain in the Army Air Corps stationed in Tuskegee. She was married to Mac Ross, who was one of the first Tuskegee airmen. He was killed in the war. She is 102 years old, and she is living with dementia in Northridge.
Wow.
What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
And that's a name you can Google, that man's name.
Absolutely, Mac Ross.
Carmine Lopez, my son Jesus, serving in the Army, is currently stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington. So proud of him.
Tammy and Steve Mile. This is our son on the right, Specialist 4 Zachary of the U.S. Army. Very proud of this young man.
From the Manzano family, from left to right, we've all served in the Army. Father Gilbert served in the Korean War, and Edward, currently serving, deployed to Afghanistan. And me, Robert, I served 20 years and retired. Finally, my nephew, who served in Iraq as well. Please send to weekends@ktla.com. We'll get as many out as we can tomorrow.
Beautiful pictures, beautiful
Very
stories.
Nice. Here it is. They're making snow.
It's time for Talk to Us.
You know, the moments may be precious that we share, but they're not few. It's many hours.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Saluting the veteran in your family. We're getting some really great stories and
Oh,
pictures.
look at that great picture.
This is from Chip Erickson. This is my dad, Michael. 20 years of service in the Army.
20 years, wow. From Don Jordan. This is our son, Andrew, serving in the Coast Guard, and he is from Whittier.
From Dolores, our son-in-law, William Cusar is retired Master Sergeant from the Air Force. Our daughter, Natalie, has just become a Senior Master Sergeant in the Air Force.
How about that? From Roberta? My father, Robert Rainey, went into the Navy at just 18 years old during World War II. Listen to this. He is going to be 93 years old this January.
Wow. And the stories he can tell, right? From Melissa, this is hard to wrap my head around. From Melissa Bedley, my great-grandfather, most amazing ever. He served in World War I at age 16.
Wow. From Don Jordan, our son's banner flying high and proud in Whittier.
You go, Whittier, one of the cities that still
That's
does
Andrew
that.
Jordan.
Yeah.
That's her son, Andrew Jordan.
From Tina Givens, this is my dad, Sergeant John Givens. He served in the Vietnam War. He was the strongest and bravest man I ever knew. He was shot in the stomach, exposed to Agent Orange. He was one tough, wonderful man. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Weekends at KTLA.com.
So, at 7:45,
Veterans Day was doubly special for this World War II veteran. Harold Brahman turned 100 years old yesterday. His friends at a Wisconsin senior home threw him a big old party. Brahman fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He received a citation from a local congresswoman and was also recognized as a member of the American Legion for 70 years. We thank him and we thank all of our veterans out there for your service to our country on this Veterans Weekend.
Thanks. Very nice.
It is time for Talk to Us. You've been sharing so many fantastic pictures of veterans and active service members in your family.
This is from Ken Kasker in Palmdale. My maternal grandfather, Wilfred Lawson Arnott, was a cavalry bugler in World War I. Here's a picture of my grandfather, and this is his burial. Oh, no, this is not right. I'm so sorry. There we are. This is a picture of my grandfather and his burial flag and the actual horn.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. From Annie Chavelas, my father, William, was a tail gunner on a DC-17.
Look at that. It's so young. And that
He was
responsibility.
let me just finish. His plane was shot down over Germany, and he was actually a POW for 6 months.
At that age, to be a POW, huh? Right? From Lori Crandall, our youngest son went into the U.S. Marine Corps right out of high school. After his 4-year duty, he came back here. He took a job as a water delivery man. He was totally bored. So he enlisted in the Coast Guard. He is now a rescue swimmer. Calls it the best job in the world.
From Alexandria Sandoval, this is my husband, Ramiro, who fought in the jungles of Vietnam.
Susan Wiley, Huntington Beach. This was my father. He enlisted at 17 years old in World War II. He was a proud Marine.
From Pat Handwork, my dad, Merle Henson, enlisted in the Army during World War II.
From Deborah Miller. I love this picture. It's going to get you. Deborah Miller, my son, Corporal Craig Miller, shaking his grandpa's hand. Grandpa survived Iwo Jima. Look at that. You know what
fantastic.
I mean? To have your grandpa look up at you like
look
that.
At that. Look
like,
at that.
That's respect.
Well, how proud.
Right? That's love. That's awesome.
Wow. From Thomas Boggs, our family serves. My sons with the Coast Guard and Army, and I am a Vietnam veteran. They all look alike. Yeah, they do. Look at that.
Really...
Generations, a legacy generation.
Thank you very much for sharing your family's story with us and legacy this morning. We appreciate it. We should wrap up our poll. Somehow or another, we got